Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Late Night Reviews, where I give you a quick rundown, in my opinion, on a movie that I just recently watched. Which today, my wife and I went to go see the movie Thanksgiving, a movie that I've been actually anticipating. I did a reaction to the trailer, I think it was a month or so ago, and I did say I was looking forward to it. It was directed by Eli Roth. And to give a quick summary, it was good. It was a good watch. It was definitely, it wasn't extravagant and oh my gosh, you gotta see it immediately. But it was definitely something that I would advise going to a theater, getting a ticket for, and enjoying I think it was like an hour, 45, 47 minutes of a movie. It didn't feel like it was too long. It didn't feel like it was too short. It was just right with the horror element. The gore was there. It's Eli Roth. The gore was there, but it wasn't. How should I put it? It wasn't Hostel or Green Inferno. It wasn't that kind of gore. It was. Let me put it this way: there are moments where it's like, oh dang, but you wasn't grossed out at all like you was when you saw Green Inferno or Hostel. But still, good watch. Definitely. First, let me put this out there. I am so glad it wasn't one of them horror slasher movies where I'm sitting there cringing over the actors. Because let's be real, a lot of not all of them, but a lot of slasher horror movies have actors that you never heard of before who give the most cringiest lines, and you can tell they didn't give time for the acting. And certain, not all of them, but certain ones. So I'm glad that when I watched this movie, I wasn't sitting there like, now, was there a couple parts where it just didn't land? Yes, but I wasn't sitting there like, ugh. I mean, actors do what they got, what the script tells them to do, and so I like to be careful whenever I'm criticizing actors and actresses about their work. So I will say some of the parts that didn't land in the movie, I wouldn't say it was their fault. It was just writing, and it was only a couple parts. So overall, though, the movie was good. I will give a big salute to the shock factor of who the killer was, because without giving any spoilers, the base of the story is after a crazy situation happened on a Black Friday, obviously right after Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving. It was a crazy situation, which was well directed, by the way. But after a crazy situation that happened on Black Friday, a killer who was a victim on that Black Friday planned for the next year to bring terror to certain individuals. Again, I won't spoil it. I don't want to say names or anything because it will mess up the movie. But this individual did plan for the next year to bring horror to certain individuals because of a situation that happened at a store on Black Friday. And again, back to that Black Friday situation. As a person who worked in retail, I could definitely co-sign that Black Fridays can be crazy like that. Was there a couple things in the Black Friday? And for those who have seen it, y'all probably like, oh, that was a little over the top. Okay, I can say I could agree with a couple things. That may be over the top, but overall, that beginning with the Black Friday craziness, I worked at Target for 9 years. And I've experienced all different kinds of Black Fridays. I'm thankful that I never experienced getting stomped on or, killed or stuff like that. But in my city where they had Black Friday, it was this. And it was crazy. All for some, discount, little discount. Grown adults act like they have no sense. I don't know if people still do that on the Black Fridays. That would be ashamed if they do. Grow up. But anyway, Eli Roth did do a good job not only showcasing the craziness of Black Friday, but of people on Black Friday, but also having the characters in that situation make fun of the people that act crazy on Black Friday. You have to see it to know what I'm talking about. But he did a good job with that. But yes, overall, good movie. Great job with the mystery of who the killer is. Again, I'm treading on water here because I don't want to say any characters right now because it could spoil and give away who the killer is. And like I said, they did a good job revealing who the killer is at the near end. It was like a darker tone of Scream. That's how this movie was. It was Eli Roth's version of Scream. I say a darker tone because it wasn't really filled with like comedic situations like Scream has. it's horror, but it has some comedic feel, lightness to it. It wasn't that, but yeah, it was. That's a great way to put it. Actually, thinking about it, Eli Roth's version of Scream. Where you figure out, and it's at the very end, almost at the very end of who the killer is, and it was executed well. It was executed well from beginning, middle to end. I will say this was enjoyable, definitely worth the price of admission. I'm someone that wants to encourage going to theaters. I miss those days of just going to the movies an event. But I'm also like a lot of y'all. I'm not going to go and pay for stuff that is rushed or not good, so on and so forth. And there's been a lot of rushed content out there, but it's also been great content as well. And so when you get this information from me, know that I'm coming from both standpoints where, yes, I want cinema and going to theaters to be an experience, but I also not just going to pay for anything, this rushed Marvel stuff from time to time or whatever. I'm not going to advise y'all to go see the stuff like that. But on that note, this is definitely one of those movies where if you like horror, it is R. And it is R. I mean, language wise, like I said, gruesome. So if you're old enough, definitely something to watch. And if you like horror, it's definitely something to watch. And also, one more thing. Speaking of horror, my wife is not a fan of big horror movies. And when I say big, I'm talking about stuff that will. She doesn't like certain horror movies because it will leave images in her head and it will scare her even after the movie is over. She watched this and enjoyed it. So the horror level in this movie was definitely, it's a horror slasher. There's more. It's a thrilling situation with how should I put it? It's not like you're watching The Nun or Jason Voorhees. And you probably knew that watching the trailer. Is more of a slasher. Who's the killer? Like I always call it an R-rated Scooby-Doo. Like who's the killer? And so the horror aspect, for those who might be like my wife, who's like, it looks good, but I don't know, am I going to sit there and be scared and all that stuff? Yes, they have a few jump scares, but it's nothing. The character, the villain, is not someone who, in my opinion, you're going to be looking and like, is he in this house? Be sitting there thinking in your head like how you might do with a Michael Myers or Texas or Leatherface, stuff like that. And my wife is not for that at all. She don't like any of them characters, Chucky, nothing like that. And she came out enjoying this movie. So, just wanted to give you a little bit of that in case you're iffy because of the horror aspect. The horror level was definitely not crazy high. It was more of a thriller than anything. But yeah, so that's my review of Thanksgiving. Definitely enjoyable. I will definitely watch it again. And yeah, I'm so glad that it wasn't overrun. I mean, it wasn't too long. And I'm glad it wasn't too short. The end does happen quickly, where it goes right to the credits, but it wasn't. But in a way, it was weird. The credits, but right before the credits, it ends like that. Usually, I hate when stuff like that. But when it came to this movie, how they did it, I was cool with it. It did seem like this, but honestly, to be real, I didn't want it to go any longer. It ended when it needed to. So shout out to Eli Roth. Good movie here. Was it his best? Wouldn't say that. So I'm looking at all his movies here. Some of them I didn't know he made. But yeah. So no, I wouldn't say it was his best work. But still enjoyable. If you're a fan of Eli Roth, you could tell he made the movie. I'll put it to you that way. But yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. And yeah, support your theaters and nearby, wherever you're at. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll catch you later.